Next, we have a before groups, after groups. So before groups means the list of groups that this configuration method will run before the any groups. So for example, groups before you want to execute, you will use a before groups concept. Something you want to execute before the groups. So that you can place in the before groups annotated method. So that will execute. After groups is the list of groups that this configuration method will run after all the groups. So after groups, so public void after groups, and you can write that code. So what you want to execute after groups, after all the groups test case over, what you want to execute here, that's after groups. Before class is basically a class level annotation. So this method will execute first before any method in the class. So the current class is invoked. So class level annotation, this one, and you will write at that before class, and before class if you write first any precondition for the test you can write. After class. So after all the test cases in the current class have completed, then this class will execute. So at the rate after class, public void after class, you can write any code which is cleanup activities. If you want to do, you can do that inside this after class. So at the rate before method, this annotated method will be run before each test method. We have seen them. So resume. So this is a very important before method and after method. So we have seen in JUnit before each, after each. It's a similar case here also. So before each and after each is, so basically, so before method in TestNG we are calling. Like before class and after class, right? Before class is nothing but before all there in JUnit. And so before method means, see, you understand before method. Every test method before this before method block of code will execute for you. If some code is common to multiple test methods, instead of writing same line of code in all the test methods, you can place that the beginning portion you want to execute before your test method in this before setup method, and that will execute first, then it will go to test method every time. So every test method before method will execute. Then once a test method is over, then after method will execute. This annotated method will be run after each test method. Each test method execution after you want to clean up something, you want to grab some collection of events or logs, anything, and that you can put that code in here. So that will execute after test. Anything you want to execute here, you can do that. So that's the before method and after method. So now we have a data provider. So data provider is mainly used for supplying the data, test data, to your test method. So what is the purpose? You can supply the data to your test method. So the annotated method must return object to dimensional array. What is the return type of data provider annotated method? It returns object two-dimensional. This is the interview question also. What is the data provider annotated method return type? What is the answer you have to give? Object to two-dimensional array, where each object can be assigned the parameter list of the test method. Parameter list of the test method. The test method that wants to receive the data from the data provider needs to use a data provider keyword or data provider name equals to the name of this annotation. So you will be like writing like this. So this is the data provider annotation. You can give a name for the data provider. You can have n number of data providers for the same class. Each data provider is having one data. So one data set you can store. That data you can give one test method. And all the data you can store in this data provider annotated method. But this method return type is object to two-dimensional array fixed. That return type is fixed, object to two-dimensional array. So object to two-dimensional array. So data equal to new object rows, comma, columns. So it's basically a two-dimensional array. We're creating a two-dimensional array. And then rows tells you number of times the test has to be executed. How many times you want to repeat the test. Columns will tell you number of parameters in the test. How many parameters are there in the test method? That parameters count is, so this column count. So in the test method, how many parameters are there? That parameters count is a column count. Rows count means, okay, how many times you want to repeat this test method? How many sets of data you want to give? That count is a rows count. That count is a rows count. So that is the how this data provider, so it will work. So then you can store, see, object to two-dimensional array, array name equal to new object, 3 rows and 2 columns. That means the test method has a 2 parameters. The column count is 2 means, what is mean by that? The test method has a 2 parameters. And 3 means, okay, 3 sets of data you are giving for that 2 parameters. 3 different sets of data you are giving. So first row, so I'm just storing the data. Data equal to data of 0, 0 means first row, first column, username 1. First row, second column, password 1. Now second row. So two columns are done. So second row, data 1, 0, username 2. Data 1, 1, password 2. Third row, data 2, 0, so username 3. Data 2, 1, password 3. So like that I'm storing three rows. See, each row is a one set of data with a column, see, 2 columns. So like that 3 sets of data is stored here and returning that data. So now this data I need to supply to my test method. How I am supplying? At the rate test data provider equal to data provider name slash data provider method name. That means either you can give this name or this method. For example, you didn't give this name. You can give this method name also. to this test method so that it will recognize, okay, where is this data provider? What is the name? From which data provider this test method has to pick this data for this two parameters. So that is how you can map data provider and a test method. Test data provider equal to data provider name and data provider method name, you're mapping. So the keyword, this is the very important data provider keyword. So which is the main mapping is happening between this annotation method to test method, so that this test method will go and pick the username value and password value. So first this value will come and store here and password, and then you can use this username wherever you are using in this method, this parameter and parameter password parameter, the values will replace. Automatic iteration, you don't need to write any loop also. Once first day sets of data over, again next set of data will start. So all the code will execute. Again, second data will pick up. Again, third data. That means this test method will execute 3 times because 3 sets of data you are given. So 3 times this test case will execute from top to bottom. So that is the how to do a data-driven testing in Selenium using TestNG. So how can you do data-driven or so data-driven testing using data
provider object we will declare.
So data provider annotation you have to use.
Yes.
And the mapping between the data provider and test method is @test bracket data provider equal to data provider name or data provider method name you have to give. So that is how to do a data driven testing. Next one, parameters annotation. So parameters annotation is, this annotation is used how to pass parameter values from XML file to your test method or your annotated methods. So not only test method, but other annotated methods also you can pass the value. That is what this parameters annotation describes, how to pass parameters to a test method or other annotated methods from XML file. So in the XML file, you have to declare the parameter tag, and the tag inside there are 2 attributes. One is a name attribute, another one is a value attribute. So the name attribute defines the name of the parameter. Value attribute defines the value of the parameter. What value you are passing, you write in the value attribute. So you have to write parameters. So above the test method or above any annotated method, and you give within curly brackets, you give parameter 1, parameter 2, how many parameters you want. Supply these parameter values from XML file, you declare those parameters. Same parameter names you have to declare in the test annotated method also. String parameter 1, string parameter 2. These are strings, but you can declare other type data also. So then this parameter 1 you will use directly here. This parameter 2 you will use here. But these values, parameter 1 and parameter 2 values, you can get from XML file, suite file. You can mention this parameter 1 value, parameter 2 value in the testng.xml file. How to create a testng.xml file for particular class? So you can right click on the class, select a testng option, convert to testng. This is how to create a testng suite file I'm showing. And give the suite name, test name, and XML file location. Click on finish, then your suite file will create like this. This is a simple suite file. What is the suite file in testng? Testng.xml is the suite file. What are the fields will be there in the testng.xml suite file? first suit tag, then name attribute, and parallel equal to none. You can give verbose. So these are the attributes. Test tag, name equal to test name, and parameter tag. So if your test method or any other annotated method has a @parameters annotation, the parameter tag you have to declare in the suit file. See, here two parameters, right? Parameter 1, parameter 2. Each parameter, one parameter tag. Parameter tag and name attribute equal to name value. Value equal to value of that parameter. So parameter name, parameter 2, value equal to value of the parameter. So classes and close the classes tag. So classes tag inside class name, package name dot class 1. Class name, package name dot class 2. So this is the classes you can use. So classes tag, then test tag, then suit tag. So suit tag, test tag. If there are parameters, parameter tag you have to write, otherwise no need. Then classes tag and classes tag inside class name and package dot class name and package dot class name 2 and classes. And close the classes tag, close the test tag, close the suit tag. So this is the simple parameterized suit file. So that's all about so annotations, all the annotations. So we have, so what are the annotations? @before suit, @after suit, @before test, @after test, @before groups, @after groups, @before class, @after class, @before method, @after method, @test method, @test annotation, and @data provider annotation, @parameters annotation. So data provider annotation is used to do a data driven testing. So it provides the data to your test method. The return type of data provider is a object two-dimensional array. How you can map a data provider and test method? @test parenthesis data provider equal to data provider name or data provider method name. So that's a mapping. Otherwise, there are many methods, many data providers. Which data provider you are mapping to which test method? So that mapping must be done. And parameters annotation is mainly used to supply the data. Instead of hard coding in the class, the data, you are hiding the data in the XML file. So that's an abstraction layer you are making. So you can store in the XML file and you can supply to your testng.xml file. So that is the suit file we call that. So next, let's come back and we'll discuss this all the test keywords. So @test marks is a class or a method you can mark as a test. So @test public void method test, only test steps you can write. This test tells you it's a test case. It's a test script @test. Let's come back and we'll discuss these keywords. What are the keywords you can use with @test?